By comedian Grainne Maguire. She was an early supporter of Jeremy Corbyn, and by Phil Collins from The Times. He also used to write speeches for Tony Blair. So how good were the jokes?
Oh, I think he smashed it.
Smashed it?
Yeah. He tore the roof off the place.
Really? God, that's going to cost the
5
Labour Party a
stars.
fortune to build it again.
It was definitely a joke. I agree with that.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
Oh, how very crushing, Phil.
I actually thought that I didn't have much quibble with what he said. Is what he didn't say that I didn't like. I think it's perfectly reasonable in a speech like that. In fact, it's necessary to really lift the hall and give them something to be enthused about and invigorate them. You've got to do that, and I thought he did that very well. So insofar as what he said, that's fine. I didn't disagree with the bulk of it either. It's just what he didn't say. I mean, a few months after a really bad electoral defeat, it's not totally serious not to mention the election, to have no sense of why you lost and how you're going to repair that. He didn't really go anywhere near that. And I thought that is a major omission that was really culpable.
But I think that would have killed the room a little bit. If he just had, like, guys, got a bottle of whiskey or something on stage and done, like, a list of everything that the party was doing.
Can I remind you of how badly we did?
You must do both.
But the thing is, he doesn't actually identify himself with the Labour Party that lost the election.
That's true.
He identifies himself as an outsider. So in order for him to stand up and say, this is why we lost, he would have just been kicking the Blairites in the party, which I think would have been really sour grapes.
He needs a speechwriter, and you've just auditioned for the job, because that is one way into it.
I've been offering myself to that camp for ages.
They can't afford Zoe.
If you just post it on the internet, they'll pick it up.
How can we afford
just
Zoe,
come
then?
back? We don't pay her, that's why we can afford it. What's the purpose of a joke or jokes in a leader's speech?
Usually, I mean, I was associated with one joke, the Blair
Tony
joke
Blair.
about Gordon Brown, the guy next door. In that case,
That wasn't a bad joke.
No, well, thank you.
very
It's awesome.
funny.
That was the one that, well, at least I can be sure the guy next door will never run off with the wife.
That's right.
And
the wife
the
will never
purpose
run
of that joke was to deal with an issue that had overshadowed Gordon Brown's speech, and it was all over the newspapers. So the joke was to conceal a confession that it was true and to try and deal with it. So that's often the purpose of it. You conceal something in a joke.
But I think what Jeremy did, it was very good. He opened with a joke which was about, oh, hey guys, I know what you're thinking.
Yes.
So when you're a comedian, you go on stage and you have to sort of make a joke about what people view you as. So he did that straight off the bat, was like, oh, everybody thinks I'm sort of like over-earnest, destroying the Labour Party, blah, blah, blah. So joke about it, so we're like, we can relax now. He knows what we're thinking.
Because it was about a committee, wasn't it? That he was there and they'd had a committee about him being there, what was going to say, which did sort of lend itself to the criticism of him.
But if you're a speechwriter for a party leader, it's quite a high wire act because even if you get a good joke, you can never be sure they're going to deliver it properly.
No, that's right.
But did you used to write the jokes in Tony Blair's speeches yourself, or did you commission them out? Did you used to say, I need a joke to cover this embarrassing thing? Somebody give me something.
I used to write it myself, because firstly because I'm just very
you're
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah. But second, because
That's a good joke.
But the better reason is that jokes, as you'll know, tend to derive from the text. So actually to say to someone, oh, I need a joke, it's one of the most terrifying things you're always asked before someone goes on stage is, have you got any jokes? Because when you just drop them into a text, they really look like a joke
I see what
is
you
coming.
mean.
But
The joke should come out of what's being said.
But often
That's
in
right.
PMQs, when you listen to those kind of jokes, they really do sound like you've got one little guy doing one-liners in the
That's
corner.
right.
And it's,
That's my point. You can always tell, because it's
yeah.
exactly what's happened. Someone's thought, let's have a joke, let's have a pre-scripted line. And you've got to be good, as you know, to deliver a scripted line and make it sound spontaneous. Most politicians can't do it. It's not Jeremy Corbyn in particular.
Fancy sending in a few jokes from Mr. Corbyn?
Definitely. But I think there's a big connection between politicians and comedians, because both are very unpopular at school. They spend a lot of their 20s trying to make,
friends
groups of strangers like them, both socially awkward. I think there's a big connection. And I think what Jeremy Corbyn is, he kind of reminds me a bit of John Cleese in The Height and The Number of Ex-Wives. And he also kind of reminds me a little bit of, like, Dave Allen. He's got a twinkle in his eye, he's been around the block, you trust him, you'd want to go for a pint.
But in days gone by, speechwriters, those who wrote for Ted Heath, they used to dread it because he was useless at
you
jokes.
can imagine
Margaret
why.
Thatcher was not great at jokes either. Harold Wilson was brilliant at jokes.
Harold Wilson was very good because he was privately witty. I mean, Margaret Thatcher, it was a terrible writing for Margaret Thatcher. There was one, she once did a very leaden account of the Monty Python.
And she didn't know it was a joke.
No, she didn't. And at the end, she said...
Did it not say joke?
All right.
At the end, she said to John Whittingdale, Monty Python, is he one of us?
Exactly. She didn't know. Anyway, we have to leave it there. We've only got